Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the California High-Speed Rail Authority's Board of Directors. The first meeting of two that we'll have today is a special board meeting for the agenda today, November the 20th. There will be, for this closed session, only item that will be on this agenda. There will be no public comment during this meeting. However, at our regular board meeting this morning, there will be the public comment as we normally have it agendized. The California High-Speed Rail Authority Board of Directors will meet in a closed session pursuant to Government Code 1112.26, parentheses, echo parentheses, parentheses, one parentheses, and some more parentheses, to confer with legal counsel regarding the following litigation: the California High-Speed Rail Authority, United States Department of Transportation, Senate Sean Duffy, the Federal Railroad Administration, Drew Feeley, that's in the United States District Court, Eastern District, Eastern 9th District. The meeting is called because of significant litigation. So I would like to ask the board director or the board secretary to call the roll.
Director Schenk.
Here.
Chair Richards.
Here.
Director Camacho.
Here.
Vice Chair Miller.
Present.
Director Perea. Director Escutia. Director Williams.
Here.
Director Worth. Director Cohen. Assembly Member Carrillo. Senator Gonzalez. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion that the board adopt a finding that this special meeting is warranted due to circumstances that occurred after the posting of our regular meeting agenda, and which would cause a substantial hardship on the board and the authority to wait an additional 10 days to act, because the board must receive an update and provide our direction to staff in closed session on pending litigation matters, which I mentioned a moment ago.
Second.
I've got to make the motion. Oh, you
Thought you did make it.
Yeah, I did. Well, I was still making it.
Oh, you were still making it.
No, I'm happy to be done making
Preemptive
it.
set.
All right, we have a motion and second. Would you please call the roll?
Director Schenk.
Yes.
Chair Richards.
Yes.
Director Camacho.
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller.
Yes.
Director Perea. Director Williams.
Aye.
Director Worth. The motion carries, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. The board secretary has called the roll, and we will now, the board will now go into closed session. After the closed session, we'll come back out and report to the public whether there was any actions taken by the committee in closed session or the board. With that, we'll now move to closed session. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back, or at least I'll welcome my colleagues back. We have been in closed session. I can report to those of you here and around the state that we've concluded the closed session portion of it, and that there has been no action taken to report out to you. I will say that the closed session will be continued, or it will be continued in the following dates at 770 L Street, Suite 11 Alpha, here in Sacramento. There will be a continuation of the closed session on Monday, November the 24th, Tuesday the 25th, Wednesday the 26th, and Friday the 28th, each of those days at 10 a.m. There may be additional closed sessions after that. Those are the ones that we're announcing now. One more time for you. Next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, the 24th, 5th, 6th, and 8th, 10 a.m. at 770 L Street, suite or room 11A. That is the headquarters for the High Speed Rail Authority. With that, the closed session is now adjourned until Monday, the 24th at 10 a.m.
Adjourned or continued?
Continued, I'm sorry. Thank you. We will now bring the meeting of the California High Speed Rail Authority's Board of Directors for November 20th, 2025 to order. And I'll ask the secretary to call the roll.
Director Schenk,
Here.
Chair Richards,
Here?
Director Camacho,
Here.
Vice Chair Miller,
Here.
Director Perea,
Here.
Director Escutia.
Who's trying to log on?
Okay, I can circle back. Director Williams,
Here.
Director Worth,
Here.
Director Cohen, Assemblymember Carrillo, Senator Gonzalez. Director Escutia or Director Cohen, are you here yet?
We have a,
We do have a
correct?
quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We'll start, ladies and gentlemen, with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask our Vice Chair if she can lead it. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time with a couple of the board members, we're going to try to handle the action items first and then go into public comment. I would like to see, at least in this room, does that create, in terms of public comment, and you're not having an opportunity to make your comments before perhaps action items have been moved on today, does that create any problems for anybody in the room here? If it does, please raise your hand.
Supervisor Pedrosa, I know you had other meetings where said, would you prefer to make your public comments first or? For sure. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to have to do the public comment first, I'm told by counsel. Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, this is Martha
Yes.
Scutia. I think they've put me in as a panelist instead of an attendee, so I'd like for the record to reflect that I am in attendance.
Thank you very much, and welcome, obviously. And Ian is also here with us. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to need to start with public comment, and so I'll ask our secretary to give you the information necessary to address us here in the room, and those of you around the state on other forms of communication, what you need to do.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Before we begin public comment for the California High Speed Rail Board of Directors meeting, I would like to review some important information. For members of the public who have joined us in person and wish to provide public comment, you will be called upon in the order we received your card. I'd like to note that we have several commenters signed up to speak today. I will be calling names in groups. When you hear your name, please line up along the wall so we can keep the process moving efficiently. If you are joining the meeting via Zoom and wish to provide public comment, please use the Raise Your Hand feature located at the bottom of the app. Speakers will be called on in the order their hands are raised. Once you are in the queue and your name is called, please click the prompt on your screen to allow your microphone to be unmuted. If we have any callers joining by phone, I will give you instructions on how you can make a public comment following the Zoom participants. All speakers will be given 2 minutes to speak. I will remind you when you have 15 seconds remaining. When it is,
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Are you done?
yeah.
Okay. Before you go any farther, I understand, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a number of people here from the city of Vernon who wish to address the board. and we want to be respectful of that and make it available for you to do so. What I would like to do before we have have your testimony this morning, I'd like to have anybody who is here to speak to us on any other items, especially any items that are action items, to have an opportunity to speak to us first. So if that's clear to everyone, that's the order in which we'll do public comments today. And with that, Mr. Secretary, if you have finished your comments, as you mentioned a moment ago, I'd like to ask Supervisor Pedrosa from the City of Merced to
County.
sorry,
County.
one more time.
County.
What did I say? Oh, what did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. Of the County of Merced, I apologize.
That's quite all right. I was
Yeah.
a city council member at one time.
Well, I remember that actually, and so welcome.
Well, good morning. My name is Josh Pedroso, Chairman of the Board of Supervisors for Merced County. I'm also a member of the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority Board. I am here today on behalf of Merced County to address a critical and ongoing concern, the continued lack of direct communication from the High-Speed Rail Authority. On August 28th, a representative from our county executive office came before this board and made a simple request: clear, timely, and proactive communication. That request was not made lightly, as Merced County is deeply invested in this project and needs accurate information to plan responsibly for our residents. Yet despite that request, we are still learning about major updates, including discussions around potential resequencing and potential privatization through media reports instead of from the authority itself. For a project of this magnitude, one that will reshape transportation, land use, and economic opportunity in the Central Valley, that is simply unacceptable. These communication gaps are not minor. They directly affect our ability to plan infrastructure investments, support economic development, and manage community expectations. When information is not shared with us, the impacts ripple through every layer of local government and ultimately through our community. So today, I am again, and I know that we have some meetings scheduled, which I'm very happy to report, an immediate and comprehensive update, which is forthcoming, which I'm very happy to say. More importantly, I am asking for a commitment, a real commitment to timely, direct, and transparent communication going forward. Merced County has been a strong supporter of this project. We want to continue being a strong partner, That's something that's very important to us, and believe this project's benefits are many. We also feel that in order to be a successful project through the Valley, Merced County must be part of the initial building in 2032 as promised via SB 198. But partnership requires communication. We stand ready to work with you, and we ask that the authority do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor, and I'll say on behalf of the board that you are heard loud and clear. Our commitment to you and to the county is that communication that needs a good deal of improvement. The direction to our CEO is to continue what has recently occurred, to ensure that that does continue and to report to the board on a reasonably consistent basis on how things are going with the county. That being said, we tell you clearly from all 9 of us, we are very, very happy with and thank you for the ongoing support of Merced County.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, if I might.
Sure.
I would like to have our CEO actually give us an update on the conversations. I know I've been led to believe and understand that conversations have been going positively, and that there were meetings that were scheduled, and I know some changed, and I was unable to attend a meeting that was changed fairly short notice, I just have to say publicly. I am committed to working with the city and county of Merced. Personally, I will engage directly and to ensure that that happens. I know I made that commitment before and worked through the board, frankly, to my dissatisfaction. So I'd like to hear from our CEO what steps have been made to communicate with the city and county of Merced.
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Williams. So we did actually, that day that was like about 2 weeks ago, we did sit down with the mayor, a couple of council members, city manager, and the deputy city manager, and I hope some of them are here today. We had a very good discussion on um, discussing the path forward and their vision as a city of Merced and ours, how fast we can get to Merced. Our commitment remains the same, as we said in our business plan, supplemental PUR, that we will be finishing the 171-mile Merced Bakersfield as fast as we can. And we discussed various technical issues when I met with the mayor. And I know Mayor Serrato is on some time off. I was in exchange with him earlier this morning. So our technical teams are setting up subsequent meetings to sit down with the city with their plan for what they're doing in terms of their development approach for the city, and then our alignment and the station locations that we have been discussing with them. Everything with the city of Merced has moved forward, as you and I discussed about a couple of weeks ago.
Mr. Chairman, if I
So all I want to do is make sure that I understand this in the meeting with the mayor and the city of Merced. And as we know, the county is also a jurisdiction there and different from the city. It's the entire county of Merced. So I want to just make sure that the same amount of conversation is going on with this county of Merced as well as with the city of Merced.
Yeah, Mr.
Yes.
Supervisor, you and I have been in discussion regarding setting up a meeting with our staff to have this similar type of briefing. I just want to be clear. Is there any other meeting that's scheduled with you all now, or are we still working on the meeting that we've been talking about?
So I want to go back and real quick, I recognize the fact that the authority has met with the city, which I really appreciate. And the city and county are lockstep on both sides. I just think that because the county has a bigger jurisdiction than the city of Merced, that we should be involved in this, especially with the technical discussions being moved to the unincorporated areas outside of the city.
Right.
And so I think that's really important that we understand, and we're on board with the city, what the city's doing, and I'm very happy that you're engaging the city in conversation. But when the county doesn't know what's going on, it makes it very difficult and very hard. Yes, I still would like to sit down with us, you and I and our team from the county.
Got it.
And then I know that there's a technical meeting that's scheduled, I believe, December 8th. I want to stay with the rest of the group.
Okay, so I'll bring a few staff members for our meeting, and we'll finalize that today.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Friendly reminder that it is, when it's your turn to speak, please slowly and clearly say your first and last name, and if applicable, please state the organization you are representing.
In the interest of time, would you, whoever's speaking, and then would you go ahead and let the next two people know so that they can get in line behind whoever's speaking, just to save time? And what we're going to do today, ladies and gentlemen, because of the numbers of people who are addressing us, we're going to ask you to hold your comments to 1 minute. And secondly, if you've already heard somebody else say the same thing, I don't mind clearly if you want to come up and identify yourself and say that if you know who had basically given the same testimony as you're giving, that you say that, but you can at least be assured that you've been noticed, that you have been here and did speak before the board.
Want to apologize beforehand if I mispronounce anyone's name. Our first speaker is going to be Shane Smith, followed by Frank Quintero, and then Robert Delina.
Good morning, Chair Richards, members of the Authority Board, and Mr. Chowdhury, see you up there. Shane Smith, Merced City Council member representing District 4. Maybe we got off to a rocky start, but I can echo the CEO's comments. We've had a number of wonderful discussions with your team. Mr. Chowdhury was referencing a dinner that we had at our Branding Iron Steakhouse in town with Mayor Serrato and Mayor Pro Tem Boyle. We're sort of the, for lack of a better term, negotiating team from the city of Merced. Had a nice statement, but a couple of quick points from the Merced perspective. As we talk about resequencing, as we talk about public-private partnerships, The Merced perspective is, of course, that SB 198 should be respected. The state has made a commitment to connecting the valley with the high-speed rail project. Our perspective is that that requires the same foundational sequencing of Bakersfield to Merced, Gilroy, and Palmdale.
15
And-
seconds.
And so we look forward to partnering with you to find the best way to do that and make sure Merced is still part of that first operating segment. Thank you and have a good meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Frank Quintero, Deputy City Manager, City of Merced. First of all, thank you to CEO Chowdhury and Mr. Tollefson and Whippy for meeting with the City of Merced. We've had very productive meetings and we feel that they are very encouraging also. As we move forward, we understand there's the desire to change the language in SB 198, and all that we ask is include your station communities and our respective representatives at the state to have input on the changes that may be suggested. CEO Chowdhury, thank you. We appreciate the fact that you are looking at public-private partnerships, and there's a lot of good that can come out of that. And we hope that things such as expanding opportunity zones within the respective areas that will help draw foreign direct investment and other investors are things that are considered as you proceed with the P3s. Also, we are just simply saying, again, thank you for the opportunity to address you, and we look forward to ongoing dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can we go ahead and the next two people?
Sure. Yeah, we've got Patty Vasquez and Hector Garcia.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chairperson, Authority Board members and staff. My name is Robert Delina. I came and spoke at the last meeting. I'm here to reiterate again, just based on new context, just so everybody's aware. We've been excited and championing high-speed rail since Prop 1A passed. We're talking a decade and a half. Very much looking forward to it. Would love to see the communication escalate and continue. Personally, myself, I don't have any problem with expanding the system, but just not at the expense of my community, right? We've very much been looking forward to this for a very, very long time, and would like to see us stay, consistent with SB 198, as been mentioned previously, and just very much looking forward to continued dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Patty Vasquez here. I'm just here once again to advocate and reiterate the message to continue to keep the station on the phase one for the high-speed rail for Merced, as it will be a catalyst for the growth. And as we are the new generation, we are responsible to create the tools for the new generation, our kids and our grandkids, to have jobs, a stable economy, and the opportunities to stay and grow in Merced. Thank you.
Thank you.
After Mr. Garcia will be Michael Kiesling, followed by Keith Dunn.
Good morning. My name is Hector Garcia, and I'm a resident and dedicated advocate for Merced County. I moved here from the Bay Area over 4 years ago, intending to stay for only 1 year, but I fell in love with the community and I saw the vast opportunity here. I've since invested my time, money, and service to make this city better for the next generation, including raising my kids here, Gio, which is 4, and Gigi, that is 4. The future of Merced and my family is linked to this project. The Merced station is non-negotiable and must be kept in the initial operating segment. It fulfills the Prop 1A voter mandate to build the foundational line in the valley first. It serves as the essential northern gateway, the crucial multimodal hub connecting ACE and Amtrak to the high-speed line. And third, it is the single most important catalyst for economic equity, linking this growing lower-cost region to the Bay Area, jobs and opportunity. The current focus is building the 171-mile line from Merced to Bakersfield, and decision to remove Merced is now a drastic change that breaks faith, undermines the iOS strategy, and compromises the rail's purpose. Uphold the commitment, keep Merced first, and operating segment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, different subject, Michael Kiesling. I worked on this project for about 15 years. I contributed hundreds of pages to at least 4 of the environmental documents. covering everything from the end of CP1 up through San Francisco. So I'd like to applaud you for looking at Pacheco Pass again and seeing if you can get some efficiencies out of the alignment through there. I have a little, gave some contact information with my card. The San Jose to Merced EIR took place in two different sections starting in 2009. I was involved in the alternatives analysis at that point between the environmental team and the engineering team and outreach and stakeholder meetings, both with the public and other stakeholders and field investigations. So what I'm offering today is as you start to
15
look
seconds.
at Pacheco Pass again, I'm available to just get together and talk to whatever team is doing that to pass along whatever institutional knowledge I have from 15 years ago that may have not, may be hard to find in the official record. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
After Mr. Dunn will be Lilia Hernandez, followed by Brian Sakai.
Thank you, board members. Keith Dunn here on behalf of the State Building Construction Trades Council, as well as the District Council of Ironworkers. I want to just take a moment and recognize how nice it is to be here and have speakers talking about the fact that they want to be involved in this project, that we have people in communities who are looking for more information because they want to have those opportunities. And in that light, I want to highlight the active participation of your CEO and his staff in looking at building a workforce development program, specifically partnering with Fresno State in the Valley, but also in the Antelope Valley. And they recently came down and met with the city of Palmdale and others from Lancaster, talking about building that workforce. Not only the college programs where we have the trained engineers and others, but also those that are actually going to do the physical construction. And on behalf of the state building trades, I want to tell you that it's critically important and appreciated, that outreach, that effort, and that commitment to make sure that we're giving opportunities to the people who are actually going to
15
live
seconds.
and use this program. So I just want to take an opportunity to highlight the good work that's being done, the outreach that's being done. And we're looking forward very much to building the next generation of individuals who are going to live, work, and ride this program. So thank you.
Thank you.
Lilia Hernandez with the City of Vernon. Vernon is a small city located in Southeast Los Angeles. We are a vibrant community where neighborhoods thrive alongside more than 1,500 businesses and a population of 50,000 workers that travel into the city daily. The plan to expand Malabar Yard by closing 49th Street and adding a new rail connector on 46th Street would essentially divide the city into quarters, cutting off vital arteries used daily by businesses, workers, commuters, residents, and first responders. The Malabar Yard modifications will impact air quality and directly affect our elementary school, church, civic center, homes, and a new residential apartment complex development, all located within about 700 feet of BNSF storage tracks at Malabar Yard, but left out of the study area.
15 seconds.
Metro's proposal accommodates BNSF rather than prioritizing the well-being of our community. Vernon is at the heart of Los Angeles County, an area of working class and lower income families that at present face a disproportionate share of environmental impact. However, accommodations for BNSF, a private entity, should not come at the expense of our city and our community. Thank you.
Following
you.
Mr. Sakai is Robert Souza, followed by Zaina Musa Milwand.
Good morning. I'm Brian Psyche, the City Administrator for the City of Vernon. Thank you, Chair Richards and members of the board for allowing us to address you this morning. Let me affirm that the City of Vernon strongly supports the Link US project and recognizes the regional benefits it will bring. However, the proposed expansion of Malabar Yard presents significant and unacceptable impacts for the City of Vernon. It's currently designed, the expansion would increase traffic congestion, slow emergency response times, elevate pollution and noise levels, and ultimately diminish the quality of life for residents, workers, and businesses in our community. Today, our request is simple, reasonable, and focused. Remove the Malabar mitigation from the project scope. It disproportionately impacts our community, and the mitigation cannot be properly justified. The Vernon community loudly voices concern about the Malabar Yard mitigation at the October 23rd meeting, where the board asked BNSF and Metro to speak to the staff. It's been over a month. We haven't heard from anybody. We're in the dark still. Significant concerns there. Again, Our request is straightforward. Please remove the Malabar Yard mitigation from your study. Despite any suggestions to the contrary, this action is fully within your discretion as the lead agency for the NEPA process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Robert Sosa, and I am the police chief for the city of Vernon. I have been a law enforcement officer in that city for over 28 years, and I know Vernon's unique street network and emergency response routes intimately. For decades, Vernon has worked to minimize at-grade train crossings as reflected in the general plan to protect emergency response times. The proposed Malabar Yard expansion directly conflicts with the planning and undermines the very foundation of emergency management and response. The 46th Street crossing is at grade and will create lengthy, unpredictable delays, and we cannot accept the uncertainty of train lengths and crossings without agreement with BNSF. The EIS-SEIR misstates how emergency response occurs in Vernon. No consideration is given to east and westbound train movement between Malabar and LA Junction.
15 seconds.
These movements will create potential delays along our north and south streets. What I do agree with in the EIS-SEIR is the report's conclusion that the project could impede access for emergency response. Public safety must remain the highest priority in any regional transportation project. We support Metro's goal of improved mobility, but never at the expense of safety of our residents, workforce, and first responders. Thank you.
Thank you.
After our next speaker will be our final in-person speaker, Daniel Wall.
Good morning. My name is Dana Musa Millward. I'm the city attorney for the city of Vernon. We are here today. Most of us traveled nearly 400 miles to make public comment. We were expecting 2 minutes, so I apologize if I have to speak quickly. The Malabar Yard expansion is being presented as mitigation for the loss of BNSF rail storage at the West Bank, but the loss of private rail storage is not an adverse environmental effect and does not require mitigation under NEPA or CEQA. LA Metro has admitted that the only reason the Malabar Yard mitigation is part of this project is because BNSF refuses to accept compensation for the loss of their rail storage. BNSF has been asking the city of Vernon for this expansion since at least 2006 for their own operational benefit and unrelated to Link US. This environmental review process is being used to force a real estate transaction that a private corporation has tried and failed to obtain for decades at the expense of a community already overburdened with traffic congestion and air quality issues.
15 seconds.
The city was left with no choice but to file CEQA litigation against Metro, and we hope to avoid that result here. We respectfully request that the board remove the mitigation measure related to Malabar Yard, or at the very least continue its review of the EIS to question whether the loss of rail storage even requires mitigation under NEPA, and to study the very real environmental impacts that an expanded BNSF yard would have on the city of Vernon and its surrounding communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Daniel Wall, Director, City of Vernon. I'd like to begin by reiterating that the City of Vernon supports the Link Union Station project and concept. However, even after participating in numerous meetings with Metro staff over the past year, we still have serious concerns about the proposed Malabar Yard mitigation, which would expand BNSF's yard and run a new track along one block of a narrow two-lane street. These impacts cannot be accurately studied or effectively mitigated if the projected train usage is not clearly defined, and just as importantly, if BNSF is not held to those projections. We've asked that BNSF enter into an enforceable agreement that sets reasonable limits on the volume and type of train traffic at the Malabar Yard and along 46th Street. Vernon is ready to engage in a constructive dialogue with BNSF to determine what limits could work for all parties.
15 seconds.
But we have only been met with silence. Our concerns are heightened by the fact that Vernon's housing element was recently certified by HCD. Newly rezoned housing sites sit just a few hundred feet from the Malabar Yard, as do existing homes, a medical clinic, a church serving a deaf community, and in an elementary school servicing students from historically disadvantaged backgrounds. These are extremely sensitive populations who will be directly affected by any increase in rail activity. The environmental documents themselves acknowledge risks such as increased congestion, degraded air quality, and safety hazards, yet the review concludes these impacts are less than significant. That condition does not reflect the lived reality of our community, and more importantly, it cannot be verified when there is no enforceable limits tying actual train usage to the assumptions used in the environmental analysis. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our in-person speakers. We're going to move on to our Zoom commenters now. Once again, if you are joining the meeting via Zoom and wish to provide public comment, please use the raise your hand feature located at the bottom of your screen. Our first Zoom speaker will be Paul Hubler, followed by Michael's iPad, followed by Rob Davidoff.
Thank you, members of the, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Paul Hubler, I'm the Chief Strategy Officer with Metrolink. Metrolink strongly supports the Link US project. It's a needed transformational investment that will unlock the next generation of passenger rail service in Southern California, allowing for faster, more frequent, more reliable service for riders across the entire region. The project will allow through running operations at Union Station instead of the current stub end operations. Union Station is Metrolink's hub and the linchpin station along the Losan Rail Corridor, the second busiest intercity rail corridor in the nation. With the future arrival of high-speed rail, the project will accommodate statewide rail connections and provide platforms that are compatible with future electrification and the next generation of rolling stock. In closing, I want to thank
15 seconds.
The High-Speed Rail Authority for your partnership in the Link US project and for your attention today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello,
Hello.
this is Michael Melodeo. I am the owner of Consolidated Fabricators. I am at the corner of Santa Fe and 49th Street. For 40 years, we've been in the metal business processing 50,000-pound coils of steel. The closure of 49th Street will make things nearly impossible for us because all of those trucks, and there are times when we have over 20 loads a day coming in and out of our 49th Street unloading area, will now have to come in off of Santa Fe and leave off of Santa Fe and will be queued up on Santa Fe Avenue. That means congestion on Santa Fe will get much worse, and it's already bad, and those trucks will be parking in front of the elementary school for the deaf right up the block. It's dangerous and it's dirty. And I have pointed this out to the Metrolink people, and they don't want to hear it. The EIR is flawed and fraudulent. And it's going to put potentially 85 people out of work, and they don't care. Janice Hahn didn't show up at the Metrolink meeting to cast a dissenting vote because she didn't have the political backbone to do so. You can't let this go through. It's dangerous, it's dirty, just to give BNSF what they've wanted for years. It was a backroom deal that stinks. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, sir.
Next up is Rob Davidoff, followed by Richard Lucas, and then potentially a duplicate Richard Lucas.
Good morning. I understand that the board is running late due to the extended closed session. I was curious on the agenda for the now canceled public finance meeting is the usual monthly Central Valley status report. And I was wondering if that could be spoken to in the board meeting, though I know that there are time constraints for the board members' time. Also, since I've got 30 seconds left, I wanted to just speak and say that I'm hoping that the authority will take the opportunity to do a regular quarterly or end of year update video with new drone footage and progress on the completed and in progress structures in the Central Valley to help
15 seconds.
Stress the progress moving forward.
Thank you. And you might stick around for item number 7 today. There will be some presentation on finance. Go ahead.
Next up is Richard Lucas.
Mr. Lucas?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, barely.
Okay. Let me unmute.
I'm sorry. I wonder if you can, is he able to call in again?
No, I can fix this. Hang on just a minute. Can you hear me now?
Can anybody hear him? I'm sorry, we're not able to hear you, Mr. Lucas. I'm just wondering, can you hang up and then dial in again?
I think you can hear me now. Is that
Oh,
work?
now we got you. Go ahead.
Good, good. I'm so sorry. And I'd like to start by saying thank you very much. And I do too support the MetroLink project. However, I am personally involved in this. I've been a passionate employee with the city of Vernon for 20 years. I was a building official. I've been now designing and building buildings for the last 24 years in the city. Tuesday night, I left the city of LA on Alameda and 37th Street, and I was caught in gridlock due to two streets east of Santa Fe blocked by accidents. It took an hour to get from the west side to the east side of the city of Vernon. The proposed rail operations will block more than two streets heading
15 seconds.
eastbound. With that said, this will create serious catastrophic traffic that will be gridlocked beyond anything in the past and stop ambulance, fire engines, law enforcement, and they will be unable to traverse east to west. These delays will cost lives. This is not hypothetical. This is not inconvenience. This is a life-threatening condition that must be fully acknowledged, analyzed, and mitigated in the EIS before any approval can move forward. I sincerely ask that you do not approve the City of Vernon's expansion without additional studies. Thank you.
Next up is Marissa Olguin.
Good morning. My name's Marisa Olguin with the Vernon Chamber of Commerce, and we represent 1,400 businesses and 50,000 workers and residents in the city of Vernon. We've had many meetings with Metro. All have resulted in a unified opposition to a plan for Vernon that will permanently alter the city's tiny 5.2 square mile infrastructure, generating environmental and safety hazards to its core. The Metro's consistently said it'll improve circulation, reduce emissions, and meets our economic growth goals when it's in fact the opposite. The plan is flawed and essentially cuts Vernon in half, expanding freight rails up to 400 cars 6 times a day, gridlocking critical crossings, and it's really threatens the backbone of Southern California's supply chain. It doesn't just bring trains, it brings barriers for
15
business
seconds.
and customers, workers and job sites. It puts lives at risk. We urge the board to omit the Malabar Yard from the project and continue to work with BNSF and Metro. High-speed rail should recommend to condemn West Bank and compensate BNSF, not Vernon, in exchange for the $25 million in mitigation. There has to be a better way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Nick Gorelli.
Good morning. My name is Nick Gorelli. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Richards, Watson, and Gershon. I represent the city of Vernon. We've recently submitted lengthy studies and analysis for the administrative record. The city has consistently denied requests to close 49th Street and authorize a crossing along 46th Street for BNSF due to the significant impacts these closures would cause. And now these requests have been converted into an alleged mitigation measure that imposes greater impacts and causes greater controversy than the Link Union Station project itself, which the city strongly supports. On its face, this mitigation is just not possible. The city does not intend to grant the required approvals for the road closures and crossings. So the mitigation measure requiring the cities of Vernon's consent to these improvements just can't be met. The
15
EIS
seconds.
doesn't consider the Malabar Yard's impacts as on an elementary school, a Catholic parish, and a hospital, all within 1,000 feet of the Malabar Yard. It gave no consideration to Vernon's certified housing element and residents. This is not environmental justice, and it's totally unnecessary. The Malabar Yard is purporting to mitigate an impact that does not exist. The city of Vernon does not want to stop or delay the Link Union Station project, but it must protect residents, workers, parishioners, and businesses. That's why Vernon will be filing a lawsuit under sequel to challenge Metro's adoption of the SEIR, and will evaluate its options should the authority adopt the EIS and issue its record of decision that if it includes the Malabar Yard mitigation. So please direct your staff To remove the Malabar Yard mitigation from the SEIR and help move the project forward, Vernon continues to stand ready to explore alternatives that avoid the Malabar Yard or at least avoid the closure at 49th Street and the crossing at 46th. Thank you.
Next up is Sarah Boyle.
Ms. Foyle?
Perfect. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Boyle. I am the District 5 Council Member and Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Merced. I want to emphasize what being in Phase 1 means for Merced and the Central Valley. As the project advances, we want the benefits to reach the people who live here, service, jobs, and business growth. This is an important moment for Merced, and if we get it right, the impact will last for generations. I want to reflect on a similar moment in Merced's history. On May 18th, 1995, the University of California Board of Regents selected Merced as the site for its 9th campus. The Central Valley was chosen because it was the largest populated region in the state without a UC campus. There were concerns, and some saw alternative locations as safer, but as Regent Roy Brophy said at the time, the real issue is which site has the best chance to become a reality. Without
15
question,
seconds.
it's Merced. Madera was an option, but Merced was chosen because the community spoke up, stood together, and believed in what was possible. Today, we are at that same exact moment. As someone born and raised here and someone who ran for office to boost our city's economic growth, I cannot overstate how critical it is for Merced to remain in Phase 1. Merced is at a pivotal moment for transformation, and high-speed rail can be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Stephanie.
Hello, Stefan?
Hi, I'm here. My name is Stephanie Sagib, and I'm the property manager for 6 buildings in Vernon, which will be impacted by the Malabar Yard plan, including one at the corner of Hampton Street and 49th Street. The owners and tenants of these buildings oppose the Malabar Yard portion of Metro's project as it will create massive delays in the daily transportation of employees, customers, and products through the city that currently makes Vernon the important industrial hub that it is. Metro must go back to the drawing board to explore alternative solutions per the motion proposed by Metro Board Chair Janice Hahn and approved by the board at the October 23rd meeting. In Metro's Executive Management Committee meeting on October 16th, Chair Hahn talked about LA County cities having a history of mistrust with Metro and BNSF and stated that BNSF has not been a good partner, has not been coming to the meetings, and has refused the city's request for an operational agreement, leaving open the possibility that train frequencies and lengths could be increased at any time. We need BNSF to come to the table and be partners with Metro and the city. Gary Hunter of Railroad Industries has told Vernon that the Malabar Yard can be used for this project as is and without all the changes they are requesting, and have been trying to get Vernon to approve for at least 15 years now for their own gain. It is time for Metro and BNSF both to realistically consider the operations of the property owners, businesses, employees, churches and schools, transit service riders, and emergency responders in the city of Vernon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Roland.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Richards and directors. I'd like to bring to your attention that Eurostar has just announced a 1.4 billion euro order for 30 Alstom Avelia Horizon double-deck high-speed trains, with options to do 20 more, which should take the total value to 2 billion euros. The reason I bring this to your attention is that the boarding height for these trains is compatible with Caltrains. It's actually identical. It's actually identical to the entire French rail network, not just high-speed rail. I wish that you would consider these trains because it will eliminate the need to have dedicated high-speed rail platforms anywhere in California. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
Mr. Chairman, we have no other attendees that would like to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now move on with our agenda items. Item number 1 is the approval of our October 9th meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Director Schenk,
Yes.
Chair Richards,
Yes.
Director Camacho,
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller,
Abstain.
Director Perea,
Yes.
Director Escutia,
Aye.
Director Williams, Director Worth.
Yeah.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 2 is board chair and vice chair elections, and we'll, as it's been our policy, we'll ask our general counsel to handle this.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Richards. First, with respect to board chair, I'll ask the board if there is a nomination for that position.
Nominate Tom Richards.
Second.
Mr. Secretary, could you call the roll, please?
Director Schenk,
Yes, we're not going to give him a chance to say no or vote against himself.
Chair Richards,
Yeah, but you abstain.
Director Camacho,
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller,
Yes.
Director Perea,
Yes.
Director Escutia,
Aye.
Director Worth.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Congratulations, Chair Richards. Is there a nomination for the position of vice chair?
Yes, nominate Vice Chair Nancy Miller.
There's a second. Mr. Secretary, could you please call the roll?
Director Schenk,
Yes.
Chair Richards,
Yes.
Director Camacho,
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller,
I'll abstain.
Director Perea,
Yes.
Director Escutia,
Aye.
Director Worth.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, item number 3 is the track and systems construction contracts. It's an approval item. And Ms. Morrison, welcome, and we're looking forward to your presentation here this morning.
Sorry, I'm short. All right. Good morning. All right. Vice Chair Richards, Chair Richards, Vice Chair Miller, members of the board, Emily Morrison here today to discuss the requesting permission to release our track and systems construction contract, which we have titled TSCC. As you guys can remember, back in August of this year, August of 2028, we came to the board requesting approval for the materials procurement, which was for the poles, the rail, the ties, the ballast. And those material procurements are ongoing at this time to be awarded very soon in the future. The purchase of those materials are now going to be utilized by our construction contractor in this to lay track. First slide, please. Or next slide, please. Okay. So we are requesting approval for our request for proposal for this contract for the TSCC. This contract is including the construction services for the track, the overhead contact system, any related civil work for the 119 miles. And as I said, that will be for the installation of the ballast, the poles, the rails, the ties. This contract will also include the design and construction services for the 119 first construction section of high-speed rail, which include traction power, train control, and the communications. In addition, this will also include construction, long lead items, testing, and commissioning for track, OCS, traction power, train control, and communication systems for the Merced and Bakersfield extensions. Next slide. We are here requesting release for our RFP. An overview of the procurement, we will be selecting a contractor based on their overall team qualifications, their technical proposal, the elements within their technical proposal, and as long as with the price proposal for an overall best value approach for a contract of this magnitude and complexity. The proposals will include pricing for the civil and track and OCS portions of the construction work. And then the pricing for the systems will be negotiated in work packages with open book pricing. So ultimately, the contractors in the future will bid on the systems portion, and we will have the opportunity to look over the shoulder to make sure that we have competition and adequate pricing. Selection of the systems and original equipment manufacturer, the OEM, will occur after award, and the contract will be based on competitive process. All right, next slide. The contract the contract term will begin upon contract execution and extends until final acceptance of all work. The overall value of this contract is a not to exceed of $3.5 billion that will be divided into 9 separate sections, 9 separate packages. Each package will be authorized through a notice to proceed. Ultimately, that will keep the contractor in check, that we make sure that they're doing the work on time, on schedule, on budget. That allows us opportunities to make sure we verify that work before going to the next NTP. And then going on, the separate costs for each package, whether lump sum, guaranteed maximum price, or a combination with specific details and scope of work. So the NTP for 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be lump sum versus a guaranteed maximum price on future NTPs. Next slide. So the scope of work, as you guys are familiar, this is a lot of reiteration of the contractor will be responsible for the 119-mile first construction section, and that will be track, OCS, related civil, the design construction for the traction powertrain control communications, the system integration, the safety certification, and the testing and commissioning. The contractor also will be responsible for the Merced and Bakersfield extensions, and that includes all of the items as I have previously said. Next slide. All right, this is a breakdown of what we have structured for the NTPs for the upcoming work. And NTP 1 will be issued as early as right after award, currently slated for 1 July of 2026. And that work will include the mobilization, any additional long lead items that were not included in our original request for materials clearance. So anything, bolts, random things that we would need for this project, they will also procure those as well. And then any equipment for NTP 2 through 4, which is for the construction in CP4, CP2 through CP1. And then all systems design work and systems OEM procurement for the 119 miles first construction section. NTP 2 will kick off shortly after, and that is the civil track and OCS construction within CP4. Our deadline to the contractor as a hard deadline is December 15th, 2026. They must lay track. We have to lay track in 2026. So that is going to be a hard deadline that is provided to the contractor. We have additional NTPs throughout the life of the contract, which include the civil work CP23, CP1, and then the mobilization of traction, power, train control, and communications in NTP 5. NTP 6 is going to be the construction, testing, and commissioning of the train control and communications, and then along with further down the line, NTP 7, 8, and 9.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hi.
Going back to our discussion yesterday, and we're talking about the hard deadline of 2026 to lay track.
Yes, sir.
Can you go into the detail that takes us to the point of laying track in terms of the civil work that has to be done prior to that happening? And when, so let's just say we're going to start laying track December of 2026. What's the sequencing of that being completed?
Well, let me give you an overall sequencing. I have specifics to your question. I'm going to transition over to our chief of engineering, who will be able to support like the technical questions that are related to the sequencing. Overall, the mobilization, what we anticipate is the mobilization could take anywhere from 3 to 5 months. They have to mobilize in advance of the start of the work. Then, so we will issue NTP 1 that will start in July, mobilization. We will have a delivery of a materials procurement that will start within Q3 and Q4. We don't want to have the materials, which was the separate procurement. We don't want to have too much of it stockpiled in advance. So we're going to get enough materials for them to start work, and that will be delivered to our rail yard. If you have any specific questions, I can transition.
Go ahead and continue with your.
Let me do one thing if I could for a moment. I need to apologize to everybody here. We need to have like a 5-minute recess if we can.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hmm? Yeah. We're back in order, and sorry for that that short recess. Carry on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair Richards. If I could have my slides back, possibly. Thank you. Wherever we've left off.
Say again.
The slides. Someone can
Oh,
pull
yeah,
up the
sorry.
slides for me.
There you go.
Perfect. Thank you. I do want to make a correction to what I previously said. I want to ultimately state that what we have provided here today, we have the ability within procurement to expedite timelines within the procurement itself, along with laying track in 2026. The ultimate goal is to lay as much track as possible that we are allowed to within the confines of TSCC. And so I wanted to make a correction to my previous statement on that.
Right.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily.
All right, we can move on to the next slide. They are required to meet, and again, we're going to have this is a correction on that line item, that the TSCC contractor is required to meet certain milestone deadlines established at each NTP. The overall goal is to achieve revenue service by January 1st of 2030. So I'm just going to, we can do this as I crouch. All right. Pivot. All right. So I'm not too loud. All right. Thank you. So outlined in the authority's 2024 business plan and the 2025 project update report, there is a correction to the second bullet on this, that the TSCC contractor will be laying as much track as possible. And we are going to be looking at optimizations throughout the procurement, along with what we can do to meet those goals. Each NTP will include interim milestone deadlines to track and complete the work of both this contract and the work of interfacing contractors. Next slide. All right, and again, this is going to be for the 119 first construction section. Madera to Poplar provides for testing certification, and the 171-mile early operating segment extensions to Merced and Bakersfield. Next slide. We are here today asking for approval for this request for proposal to go out on the market. It is a one-step proposal, and we will be coming back to the board for award approval.
Motion
slide.
approved.
We got a motion. Is there a
Second.
second? Motion and second. All in favor? Oh, excuse me. Oh, there you are. That's why I said that. Thought we had no secretary any longer.
I have a question.
Yeah, yes, Director Scutia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. As you well know, I'm in Spain right now for my usual sabbatical, and I always take the high-speed rail here in Spain. I just got back from Galicia, which is about 3.5 hours one way. high speed from Madrid to Galicia, northwest of Spain. Incredible train ride, a lot of tunnels on flat land. But what I also noticed was that I think as a result of aerodynamics, there were a lot of rocks that were just flying and hitting the bottom, the belly of the train as we were traveling. And it really caught my attention because literally 3 days later, the Secretary of Transportation here in Spain declared that there was a joint project between the Spanish government, the manager of high-speed rail here, ADIF, as well as a university and an engineering firm, in trying to prevent this consequence of aerodynamics and these rocks flying all over and hitting the train. And they're coming up with new railway ties that will somehow prevent the rocks from flying all over. Is this something that I wanted to ask Ian? Are you aware of this? So that's a question for Ian. But more importantly, as we go down this road of approving contracts, technology is changing. And is the contract flexible enough for us to basically demand the best available technology, for our project? So I guess that's a question for Ian as well as a question for counsel.
Yes, this is a great topic. It does occur on high-speed rails projects that the ballast moves around.
Right.
Now, when the speeds are very high, and you're right, this is a known phenomena. The mitigations in Germany and France and other places, what they've done, they use a special epoxy material to hold the ballast in place. There are some geotechnical envelope layers they do. I'm in Tokyo today. I can tell you they do the same because they know the issue of rocks flying. So they do try to mitigate that by using either the epoxy or some geotech material that wraps the ballast around so it keeps it in place. We will do the same because we know our speeds are even kind of higher in most sections when we are running.
Well, from what I understand, the speeds cannot get high enough if there's all these rocks flying around. The operators here are not traveling as fast as they should be. So I'm just listen, I'm not an engineer. I just like to read about this stuff, and I really get into high-speed rail here when I'm in Spain. And I just want to make sure that as we, approve these contracts, that we are getting the best available technology, for our project, and that the contract is flexible enough, to account for those type of changes.
Agreed. And we'll make sure of that. To your second point, as you noticed that when Emily was presenting, we said track and OCS will be advanced sooner, and then behind that will be the technology portion, the signaling and communications, and that will be the open book, meaning we will purchase it at the right time when the technology is needed through open book policy. And
okay.
Totally agree with you.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Martha. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Director Schenk,
Yes.
Chair Richards,
Yes.
Director Camacho, Vice Chair Miller,
Yes.
Director Perea,
Yes.
Director Escutia,
Yes.
Director Worth.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and that will conclude the action items today. Item number 4 is the Public-Private Partnership Co-Development Agreement for procurement. This is just information for today.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Butson.
Brian Petzine, Commercial Strategic Advisor for the Authority.
Thierry Prate, Financial Advisor for the Authority.
So we're going to do this jointly. I will do the presentation in pretty brief form. We think this lends itself to Q&A a little bit better, and then Thierry and I can jointly take the questions depending on what they are. So this item is for the request for qualifications to engage a co-development partner. This is the next step in what has been a multi-part process that you're aware of that will hopefully lead to one or more public-private partnership agreements in the end. This started back in January, you'll recall, with an industry forum that we held here in Sacramento. including a number of public-private partnership developers, as well as other aspects of the program. And then in June, we released the RFEI, the request for expression of interest, regarding this P3. And in September, we summarized what came out of that process and what we heard. So now we are looking to take the next step to issue the request for qualifications to actually identify and bring on a private partner, initially to identify and evaluate opportunities for private investment in the program. If we could go to the next slide. Okay, this works. So what this private sector partner will do initially, this is again, one of a number of steps along the way. This first phase under the co-development agreement that we hope to enter into with the co-development partner will be the screening and evaluation phase. So we will look at the various opportunities on the program with this partner. That could include commercializing assets. That could, of course, include seeking out efficiencies and delivery of the program, the infrastructure itself. As you're aware, we have identified many opportunities ourselves. We're hoping the partner will identify even more opportunities. And if you could skip to the next slide, the one with the arrows. Again, I'm just going to move this along here. So the idea is we will enter into this co-development agreement, which is the initial asset screening phase. And then as one or more opportunities are identified, we would then take the next step with the co-development partner to really dig in, do additional diligence, modeling, whatever else it takes to negotiate what could ultimately be an implementation agreement or a development agreement for an opportunity. So that could be anything from how do we commercialize the fiber, I think we've talked about that, to how do we commercialize the entirety of the infrastructure we're building. So next slide. The team we're soliciting is a combination of equity investors. So these equity members, one of them will have to be identified as the lead developer. So these could be pension funds, infrastructure funds, folks who do this and have the expertise in developing mega projects, not just in the US, but globally. We expect international interest to be very broad here. And the other elements of the team is we're asking them to have a design member. This is really to help them develop and vet these ideas. One of those would also be responsible for systems integration if one of the projects that we were to advance were to take on some of the infrastructure opportunities themselves, and a train operator, because we want the operations view on what these opportunities are and how they could have the long-term benefit to the program. So what we expect is, this is qualifications only with a little bit of approach. If we go to the next slide, these teams will come with those 3 to 4 members. We'll be looking at, obviously their composition, structure, experience, the depth of their ability to bring equity to the program, and then just their capabilities to actually go on this exploratory screening journey with us as we, take those next steps towards identifying a real project or multiple real projects where we can see the ability to leverage this investment. So with that, we'll be asking them for some of those ideas at this request for qualification stage. But really, we're talking probably over the next 6 months, working with the selected partner to really flesh out what does and does not make sense to take to the next step. So I think that's the gist of it. It probably makes sense to open it up to questions from the board at this time, if you'd like.
Any questions from my colleagues? Yes,
I have
Dr.
a
Perea.
couple of questions. One is, if I understand, in my briefing yesterday, we talked about this. And one question, I understand what it is, but we're looking at the $25 million threshold that doesn't require it to come back to this board. And my question is whether we want to consider maybe modifying that policy for this particular item, because I understand you correctly, this initial one could generate some additional contracts. So we're talking about an initial potential 25 million, but probably long-term could be 75 million, could be 100 million.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Depending on the
I wouldn't, at least my opinion, I think the board should be approving each of these contracts as they come. It's too big of a thing for us to just say, go do 25 million chunks of dollars and the board not being involved in it. So that's just one opinion, or my opinion on that piece. And the other question I had is I asked a question and they said it would dovetail into this discussion, but I really don't think it did, but I'll ask it again anyway, is we've been for years under program management of our operation, but we've pivoted to construction now. And I know we have a PDS contract that expires next year. And I know our CEO has advised us that on, I believe, January, you'll be releasing the RFP for that. And I didn't see how that fit into this discussion yesterday, but I just want to bring it up. I just want to underscore with staff is that we're going out to bid on that in January. And there should not be any slippage in that RFP.
So that is in my CEO report, Dr. Brea, and we will discuss the schedule in that report for when we can, with all the procurements going on right now, what we are planning to do for the program delivery or program management.
Yeah, I just want to underscore that January is the date, at least we're expecting that to be before this board.
Understood.
Thank
I think Ian will cover that. And Director Perea, to your first question, I totally agree. There will be multiple touch points here. This first RFQ and the first co-development agreement is really the exploratory portion. So when a project is identified, we would expect to come back and brief the board, depending on the project, whether there's more money needed or not. What that action would look like, I think would be determined at the time, but we'd be back before we advance the diligence on a project, and then likely again before actually entering into an implementation agreement to then move forward to do that thing.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to share my concern, and I'll let our board chairman decide how he'd like to proceed with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Perea. Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much. The item number 5 today is the staff report on LA Metro Link final environmental impact statement. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Yeah, this is an information item.
Yes. Thank you, Chairperson Richards, members of the board, members of the audience. This is, again, an informational item. My name is Stefan Galvez. I'm the Director of Environmental Services. With me today is Brett Rushing. He's the authority's NEPA assignment manager, and Mr. Scott McConnell, Executive Officer and Program Manager for LA Metro. As you know, LA Metro is the project proponent for the Link US project. So our update today is to let you know where we are on the environmental process. As you know, when we received the NEPA assignment from FRA through the agreement with the state of California, we started working on this project. So it's been quite a few years, but we're happy to report that we're at the close end to complete this project right now. The LA Metro retains the CEQA lead agency role and we in the authority are the NEPA lead agency. As the CEQA lead agency, the board of directors for LA Metro approved last month the supplemental EIR for the project. So the next step for moving the project along would be for the authority to complete the final EIS and the ROT. That responsibility falls on our CEO, Mr. Chowdhury, since NEPA does not require the decision-making body to approve the project under the NEPA requirements. We want to acknowledge the tremendous level of support from multiple jurisdictions. This is a truly fully supported project by not only the region in Southern California, but at the statewide level. It will ultimately accommodate high-speed rail. So we have full support of that. So we wanted to acknowledge all the jurisdictions and agencies that have supported the project. I also wanted to acknowledge the presence of the city of Vernon today. They traveled all the way up here. They have also provided great level of contribution and collaboration, and they do support the project. But you did hear today that they do have concerns about the Malabar Yard mitigation. So our commitment at the California High-Speed Rail Authority is to consider those comments that we have received. We acknowledge that we received also a letter from the city before we move forward, making a recommendation for Chairperson Chowdhury to move forward with the project. We'll be considering those comments and making sure that we meet all NEPA responsibilities. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Brett here to give you an update on the project.
Yes, Stefan, good morning, or good afternoon now, directors. So as we approach the final stages of the NEPA review process for the Linkous project, I just want to take a moment to update you on our progress toward delivering this very important project for the region. But first, I want to give you a brief review of our NEPA assignment agreement with the Federal Railroad Administration. That was executed in 2019. And since that time, we have been working with Metro on this project. And recently in 2024, that MOU was renewed with specific interest by the legislatures of on these local sponsor projects, of which one Link Union Station is one of those. We also have a couple of other projects that we're working on right now. One of those is the High Desert Corridor, which connects Palmdale to the Victor Valley. We're also working with Sandag on their Delmar Bluffs realignment project, which is part of the Losan alignment. At the moment on that one, we are just initiating work. We have not yet requested NEPA assignment from FRA, but we probably will be doing that within the next month or two. So as far as Linkous is concerned, Metro has prepared the environmental document for the project, and the authority is currently reviewing the draft final environmental impact statement for technical and legal sufficiency. The project is also under review to ensure future accommodation for the high-speed rail system as well. Okay, that's good. So the NEPA defined purpose of the proposed action is to increase the regional and intercity rail service at Union Station and to improve schedule reliability through the implementation of run-through tracks and the elimination of the stub-in tracks that currently exist. This will allow preserving current levels of freight movements as well as accommodating the future high-speed rail system. LA Metro is the project sponsor, as Stefan mentioned, and they are the CEQA lead agency, and we are serving as the NEPA lead agency for the project. In June of last year, 2024, we released a draft environmental impact statement and supplemental EIR. After the closure of that comment period, we requested that Metro continue to work with the stakeholders and concerned communities to resolve their comments and address those concerns in the final environmental impact statement. And there have been some updates recently, and I'll pass those over to Mr. McConnell from LA Metro to provide you more project detail and an update on their next steps.
Thank you, Brett. Okay. Everyone can hear me okay? Great. Good afternoon, Board of Directors. I'm Scott McConnell from LA Metro. I'm the Project Manager, Executive Officer with Metro. Next slide, please. I'm going to begin by talking about the project study area. Just to orientate everybody here, Union Station is at the center of Los Angeles. So this graphic is obviously centered in Los Angeles. To the left is the north and to the right is to the south. To the north, we have a throat, as we call it. It's a narrow corridor. And as we move to the right or to the south, our study area includes our Union Station where the rail yard is. As we move further right to the south, we encounter the 101 freeway. It's a stub end station. The project proposes to span across the 101 freeway and then connect to the west bank of the LA River. And that is where our mainline tracks are. It also is where BNSF has their storage tracks that we heard about earlier. So the project will need to acquire a portion of those storage tracks. And we have a proposed mitigation in the city of Malabar to make some freight improvements, and that is shown all the way to the right and to the south. Next slide, please. This is the build alternative. It's 10 tracks. It's a 10-track run-through structure. This is the alignment that was included in our public notice of intent. And once again, from left to right, north to south, we have some, at the throat area, we have some improvements that are proposed, a sound wall to accommodate increased rail traffic. We also have some bridge modifications as we move towards the center of the rail yard. We propose to expand the rail yard to have new platforms and then connecting to a run-through structure that will span across the 101 freeway and connect to the mainline tracks. Next slide, please. Here is a build alternative design option with 8 tracks. Now, the 8-track option is narrower and less impactful, and it was included as a design option. But it serves the same function as the 10 tracks. There is a future connection with high-speed rail, and it connects to 2 platforms. So it serves the same function as the 10-track option. The bottom line is we sharpened our pencil. We did some value engineering, and we found that we could satisfy the same rail capacity with 8 tracks instead of 10. And that includes just having tighter headways, tighter spacing between trains, and we could accommodate 8 tracks instead of 10. More or less, the improvements are the same, less impactful. One advantage is that to the north, we have less work in order to upgrade the station. We originally had to modify 2 bridges to accommodate our expansion. In this case, with the 8-track option, we have 1 bridge that we modified to the north. Next slide, please. So the project has been divided into 2 phases, Phase A and Phase B. So the first phase is a connection to a single platform and will accommodate Metrolink and the Pacific Surfliner with run-through service. Under the first phase, this viaduct or run-through will be built to the full width to accommodate future California high-speed rail. So the run-through structure will be built to full width, but will, in the first phase, connect to a single platform. The second phase will include a full build-out of all platforms and will accommodate future high-speed rail. So here's Phase A. As you can see, there's a connection to a single platform shown at the center of the graphic, and then the run-through structure, which accommodates a run-through service. Next slide, please. And here's the full build-out in Phase B. And shown is a connection to 4 platforms, 2 of which will be dedicated to California high-speed rail and run-through track service for Metrolink, Pacific Surfliner, and California high-speed rail. Just for some fun math here, the build alternative is 10 run-through tracks, 2 from Phase A and 8 in Phase B, or in the build alternative design option is a total of 8 run-through tracks, 2 from Phase A and 6 in Phase B. Next slide, please. Here is the Malabar Yard in the city of Vernon. And as mentioned, our project requires a mitigation for acquiring a portion of the BNSF storage tracks on the West Bank. First and foremost, before arriving at Malabar Yard, our engineers did look at 6 alternative sites, and Malabar Yard was selected as the preferred option. And so the Malabar Yard improvements relate to a 46th Street connector and the closure of 49th Street, Malabar Yard. These improvements provide for a new connection to the Los Angeles Junction. At this time, the Malabar Yard serves the west side of the city of Vernon. The Los Angeles Junction will serve both the east and west side. It will actually reduce the use of the Malabar Yard as far as goods distribution is concerned. So it's shifted, it's redistributed to Los Angeles Junction. Overall, these improvements make the freight distribution more efficient in the region. It provides a benefit to citywide circulation, a reduction in gate downtime, reduced train movements, and reduced vehicular and train idling times, and better access overall. It also improves the localized regional air quality and shifts freight activity away from sensitive receptors. And then on the right is a depiction of the high-speed rail proposed light maintenance facility included for reference, but it's not a part of the project. Next slide. Back to you, Brett.
So as you can see, although this project has a small footprint, it's quite complex when it comes to railroad operations, design engineering, and as well as environmental effects. So under NEPA, there were three areas that were identified as adverse impacts. As Scott discussed a few minutes ago, there is temporary noise impact from construction of the sound walls for those locations at William Mead Homes, Care First Village, the Mosaic Apartments, and the Metro Gateway Childhood Development Center. Those impacts are temporary, and they are a result of actually building the sound walls that will mitigate the sound effects during operations of the trains. So there are plans in place to reduce those effects, but they will likely be adverse during construction at certain points during construction. So therefore they're considered temporary. The cultural resources and paleontological impacts are a result of the nature of those resources. If there are paleontologically sensitive soils located within the project area, as well as cultural resources, meaning archaeological sites, things like that, that could be impacted. And then, if there's not protective measures in place, there could be adverse effects. We do have plans for both of those that will mitigate those impacts and preserve and protect those sites. Thirdly is the traffic impacts to the city of Vernon through Malabar Yard. Those impacts can be reduced, but not totally eliminated. And Metro has stated that in their environmental document. They can also have an impact on emergency response times, as well as potential access impacts to the Stacy Medical Center. Given these effects, the authority requested that Metro work with the city of Vernon collaboratively to identify any other improvements that could actually offset these impacts. And I think, Scott, you were going to discuss some of that in your next slide.
Yes, next slide, please. There we go. All right, anticipated project benefits. So, as mentioned before, the Union Station is a stub-end station. It's woefully inefficient, one way in, one way out. The project will build a run-through structure to accommodate future rail capacity. So the first phase actually doubles the rail capacity, and with further connections, we can almost quadruple the capacity. So so overall benefit for the region, for both intercity and commuter rail. There's more run-through service. There's less dwell time at the stations. As mentioned, it's one way in, one way out. We have less idling times, quicker train service. The project generates jobs. We also propose to improve pedestrian access to and from Union Station. And there are some improvements included for the 101 freeway. So in addition to the benefits here at the rail yard, there also is an overall benefit in the city of Vernon and the Malabar Yard. And the benefits amount to fewer train movements. And overall, we've calculated a 32-minute vehicular traffic circulation improvement on a daily basis. And in addition to those benefits listed here, we have also worked on a suite of community improvements for the city of Vernon to offset the adverse impact of the Malabar Yard mitigation. And this was a result of over 40 meetings in the city of Vernon to address comments that we received from our draft EIS that was issued in June of 2024. And in all, we have identified and committed to over 100 community improvements that amount to over $24 million. Next slide. Back to you, Brett.
All right, so as Scott mentioned earlier, there was a value engineering exercise to identify a refined project for the final EIS. For that proposed decision, we are carrying forward the 10-track build alternative with the 8-track option should HSR approve that option. Next steps, as you see on the screen today, is this board meeting providing an informational update to you all. We plan to execute a Section 106 programmatic agreement. That's for the historic properties that could be affected by the project. And that is with the State Historic Preservation Officer. There is a Metro board meeting on December 4th where I believe that they will be updating their board on any changes that have occurred since they signed their their supplemental EIR on October 23rd. I think we may have missed that earlier. I just wanted all of you to know that the LA Metro certified their supplemental EIR on October 23rd at a board meeting. After that's complete, then we will continue working with Metro to finalize the EIS, and we will seek Metro CEO's signature on that final EIS before bringing it to our CEO, Chaudhry, to consider whether or not to sign the combined FEIS ROD. And then after that, it will be published to the Federal Register. These dates, we put them in as December. They're anticipated dates. They're not hard and fast dates. We are continuing to work with Metro on that draft final environmental impact statement to resolve comments received. We've received comments from the city of Vernon, not only today in person, but also by letter. We will continue to work with Metro to address those concerns. And I think, you want to thank it? Okay.
So thank you, members of the board. This concludes our informational item. And if you have any questions, we're here to answer. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Yes, we do. One moment, please. Yes, go ahead, Jeff.
I appreciate the end you mentioned the continued work with City of Vernon. Obviously, there's a little bit of work to do there. They wouldn't have traveled all the way up here if they we're satisfied with everything. So could you just make the commitment to keep in contact with them and keep us up to date how those conversations occur?
Yes, that is part of the next steps. We are in receipt of their comments. We acknowledge the comments today also. Those will be entered into the record, and we're going to be evaluating those comments also. I'll let you know.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Item number 6 is our CEO report. CEO Chaudhry.
Good morning, or good afternoon. Well, good morning here. Can someone please pull up the slide? All right, so I know that we exceeded the time today. I'll try to answer any questions, but I'll try to be as brief as we can. Next slide. So we are currently working on our new updated business plan approach after the capital invest decision, the support from the governor and the legislature, what we got approved, that will reflect in our business plan 2026. Really this time, we do want to present to the board, to the legislature, and to the public a real true business case for the project that will talk both about the cost and actually when this project moved into different phases, the revenue it generates. So it will be a true business plan that is not only talking about what we need to fund and finance, but also what is the project returning to the public once it enters into its phases as we build between Bakersfield to Merced and then move out to Gilroy, Palmdale, San Jose, San Francisco, and eventually to LA in phase 1. So can you guys get to the, yeah. With that in mind, when we were talking earlier that we have already started procurement of our materials, and then we are looking at bringing on a contractor on board for building tracks for us and also do the installation of systems. We were also working with Higher Desert Corridor in the meantime, helping them with the environmental clearance, but at the same time, we had now entered into discussions with Higher Desert Corridor Joint Power Agency to help them also to stand up the material procurement for them so they could piggyback on the contracts or the material suppliers that we are choosing because their track will be the same as ours. They have their own funding mechanism to do that in order for us to optimize costs for local agencies in Southern California and Northern California. We are, with the volume of material that we are purchasing, we are able to support these other governmental agencies, not only to help them to procure contracts or materials that we are purchasing, but also optimize cost for those other agencies as well. So with Higher Desert Corridor, we are currently in discussions to have an MOU where we will have an understanding that whatever material we are purchasing, they can actually utilize those suppliers as well without going into this procurement for themselves. We started to have conversation about helping TGPA, which is the Trans-Bay Joint Powers Authority in the Northern California, where we have the terminal already built to receive the high-speed rail. Again, is connected to our system, and we will be advancing our discussion with them. I met with them about like 4 weeks ago in San Francisco, and so there is an opportunity there as well to help them to optimize the cost for their project, and simply because we will be doing tunneling on ours, and so we can have the same type of approach for the tunnel that they have to build between 4th and King and the terminal they have downtown San Francisco. Same thing in business plan 2026. We are also going to be exploring possibilities of Metrolink tracks, not only in Antelope Valley, but also LA to Anaheim, what improvements can be made before the High-Speed Rail Authority even arrives there. And we'll present that as a case of saying what improvements can be made in Northern California and in Southern California while we are building the Merced to Bakersfield link. So we will be presenting that in our 2026 business plan. Next slide, please. Of course, this is the repeat of what we started in August of this year. But we started identifying these issues in November 2024, and we will continue to work with the administration and with the legislature to support us in getting these tools that will allow us to become more efficient and streamline all our processes to optimize not only the cost, but also stabilize our schedule and commitment to the budgets that we are presenting, that we presented in the supplemental PUR, and then what we'll be presenting in 2026 business plan. We do need these tools. They are still not there in our hand yet. We will be asking for it again. And then as we are talking about getting out Merced to Bakersfield, looking at other areas where we can build, we'll be looking for additional funding opportunities, working with the administration and the legislature both. So these items are known to everyone, and we will be working with both the administration and the legislature to actually get these converted into law so we can have jurisdictional powers to be more efficient. Next slide, please. Big things in 2026 that we're looking at. Of course, railhead facility. It will be operationalized because that's where we're going to receive all our materials, track systems, catenary wires, cables, ties, and so on. So that's, we are connected now to BNSF National Network. By the end of October, we were completed on that. Now we are putting some office facilities in the Vasco Yard. We'll continue to do that work towards the end of the year. But the project is ready now to receive material. We will be also looking for now the renewable clean energy request for expression of interest on a partnership basis, because we do need to stand up our renewable grid, clean energy grid. So we will be looking for industry engagement in 2026 early. We will also start receiving the materials in 2026. Of course, as the team was explaining, the co-development partnership with the financier concessionaire to be on board by mid-26. That is a big milestone for us, because that really puts the program on a real fast track against the funding commitment that we had through Capital Invest. And that will be very, very critical milestone for us to have a P3 partner selected at the time by mid-26. We will also be looking at new approach to solicit new services sometime in 2026. This was the comment that Director Pereira was mentioning. There is a sequencing issue here, and we can take it offline and have a discussion about, because we do want to bring the P3 partner on board that will help us in determining what the program delivery services will look like. Because some of it, if we have a P3 partner, some of it will be taken over by, some activities will be taken over by that co-development partner. And then we will have other works that we have to do through program delivery services partner. So more to come on that, but we are trying to sequence in a way that we are not overlapping. activities in a way that we will end up paying more than what we need to. Next thing in 26, of course, the biggest one also is the award of the track and systems contract. We know that we would like to do 119 miles civil work that is substantially going to be completed by the end of 2026. We know CP4 is done, so we'll start there. We will move towards CP23. But we have two things to consider here and keep in mind. We have the rail steel suppliers, and then we have the track contractors to be mobilized. The two things have to coincide in a way that we can maximize the track construction as much as we can between 26, 27, 28, and 29. In the meantime, we also have CP23 and CP1 contractors finishing up the work that they have committed in their contract by end of 2026. End of 2026, meaning
I can't
that.
really hear you.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, no, we weren't hearing you very well. It was fading. If you can get closer to your microphone, might be helpful.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Not much better.
Hold on. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. I think my headphone battery was dying. So the construction of the tracks will start, as I was saying, in CP4. We will go north from there, while the CP23 contractors are finishing up their work in their contract package. Target is to get them out of the way of track construction by the end of 2026. There might be sections available in that area as well. We will look into it as we develop our construction for track program and see how far we can go. But we have to remember there are rail purchasing, tie purchasing, poles, and other things separate from track contractor. We have to combine both, and they have to converge in a way that we can build tracks as fast as we can starting in 2026 at some point in time. All these suppliers and contractors are not on board yet. We are in solicitation, but they will be coming on board. Today, we just approved, which is the good news, is the track and system RFP. So we will be moving forward. We do want to bring these people on board as fast as we can so we can start real true construction of tracks in 2026. So those are our 2026 milestones. We will be also looking at potential of implementing other ancillary revenue activities that we talked about in our supplemental PUR, and see, independent from the track construction, how we can start generating revenue from the 119 miles and then 171 miles as fast as we can. Some of it will be tied into other items that are not purely related to track construction. So this is a high-level view of what we're looking for in 2026. Solid plan. We have clear path towards the next phases of this program. Our new business plan will actually also demonstrate that we have looked at the business case of how to generate revenue from this project. I would say project, the corridor of opportunities. So that's my presentation. More than happy to take any questions.
Questions for our CEO?
Yeah. Good morning, Ian. I realize it's really early where you are, so thank you. But I'm on the page on the necessary legislative and administrative actions, and one of them is CEQA exemption for clean power facilities. And I just want to make sure that does not include nuclear, these small nuclear plants that are being talked about through AI and other utilities.
Those are not in our thought process at all.
Okay, great.
First of all, yeah, they're very long-term solutions.
Clean power sometimes is code for that, but yes,
Right.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ian? Ian, thank you. Moving on to item number 7. We did not have a Finance and Audit Committee meeting today, so I've asked our CFO to come in and give you a short brief on what some of the things we were going to be hearing in Finance and Audit this morning. Jamie, go ahead. Good morning.
Thank you, Chairman
Or
Richards.
good afternoon.
Yeah, it's good afternoon now. Vice Chair Miller, members of the board. My name is Jamie Metalka. I'm the Chief Financial Officer. Today I'll cover a readout summarizing the Finance and Audit Committee reports for November 2025, which includes data through September 2025. I want to start with an update on revenues, as there are some key items that have occurred. The authority was informed of the withdrawal notification of an awarded grant, $89.6 million for a grade separation project in the Merced extension. So we'll be removing that from our revenue projections. Thank you. Number 2, actual revenues were reduced by $149 million to reflect the August 2025 cap and trade auction results being less than planned. On some good news, future cap and invest funding projections were increased by $500 million based on the program extension language that was chaptered into law earlier this year. The increase is a result of the authority now receiving an annual allocation beginning in fiscal year 26-27 through fiscal year 2045-46 that is no longer dependent on quarterly auction results. The result of these adjustments is a net positive revenue change from last month of $262 million in revenue, bringing our total projected funding up to $44.6 billion. For our cash position, we have a healthy cash balance as of the report of $4 billion. On our invoice processing, I'm happy to report that we have continued our streak of no late payments, reaching 104 consecutive months. In addition, we have reduced the amount of invoice disputes by over 65% with the continued negotiation and resolution of disputes with our CP23 design builder. On our administration budget, expenditures to date are approximately $20 million, or 19% of the approved budget through the first 3 months of the year. We have 389 state positions filled out of our authorized 514, resulting in a vacancy rate of 24.3%. We have been diligently hiring with 33 vacant positions filled over the last 12 months, or an average of 3 positions filled each month. On our capital outlay budget, expenditures are at $383 million, or 14% of the approved budget. And highlights of progress in that area for construction, we're at 56 completed structures and 78 completed guideway miles. Our projection by year end is 4 more completed structures and additional 12 miles completed guideway, bringing our totals up to 65% of structures completed and 76% of guideway miles completed by year end. For utility relocation, we've relocated 1,628 utilities of the 1,826 conflicts, so that's an 89% achievement. And the project is expected to complete 70 more by year end, bringing that total up to 93%. On our small business utilization, we did see growth in active working small businesses. We're now at 953, an increase of 8 since the last report. And then on our contingency usage, we executed 4 change orders during the reporting period, 2 in CP1 and 2 in CP23. Finally, I'd like to just mention the fact that the Office of Inspector General did issue a report today that provides an analysis on our 2025 supplemental project update report. The OIG report found that the information in our report was accurate and adequately supported. They did provide several recommendations for us to consider as part of the 2026 business plan, which we are taking with us for that report.
Thank you, Jamie. Any questions for our CFO?
Just one real quick one. Thank you for the report, but just to underscore, our civil work is going to be completed by December 2026, and everybody is in agreement with that and all hands on deck to make that happen?
It's all hands on deck. There's a construction project, so there is risk as we continue to go, but that is our goal.
Okay, it's got to be more than a goal. So just so staff knows.
Any other questions or comments? Anything any of my colleagues would like to raise at this point before we adjourn? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being with us today. Happy Thanksgiving, and the meeting is adjourned.